Oh, I guess I'll go. Oh, hi, Stank Killer. I'm here to commentate tonight for this beautiful match.
What's up, everyone? I'm Triggered here. I'm gonna commentate with Killer. We have Dingy streaming, and also Don Shadow hosting the room. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, hello. Tonight's matchup is obviously Halfway Human and 12 Panzer. From what I understand, Halfway Human is comprised a lot of 36 Panzer former members.
Yep,
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that right.
most of them.
Most of them. Okay. Looks like they're about ready to start, so let's switch the screens here. Here we go.
I like to see HN using a T57 and a Patton. I would expect that Patton try to boost on that little hill in the middle. Not sure yet how they want to use it.
Like
12
the
Panzer
E4
with a
plan.
pretty, yep, pretty regular tank lineup for 12 Panzer, 2 Super Kongs, 2 IS-7s, 2 Batchat, a 140, and an E4. A mixed lineup for HN, 5A, a 50B, a Super Kong, a T57 Heavy, 2 IS-7, a Batchat, and a Patton.
Both Panzers a lot more slower than HNs. They have to watch about the bull push because if HN dedicates all their tanks to bull and takes cap circle early, 12 Panzers gonna have a rough time taking it back. If their Super Conquerors get bad, or if their IS-7s spawn behind the Super Conquerors on 12 Panzer and the IS-7s, or if 12 Panzer just doesn't play bull, they're gonna find it hard to retake the bull from HN, especially when HN's running the patent batch at 50B and the 111 5A. But we'll see. Spawns are going to be key here because spawns, a lot of these maps in the GTL rotation have some spawn dependency. Cliff being one of them. Do we know whose map pick this was?
Yes, it was HN.
HN's map pick? Okay.
Yeah. HN pick? Okay.
Yeah, I would bet a lot of money they're going to play bull, or they could be playing up top, but with their setup, with HN's setup, they would honestly probably send everything bull. Except for the Batchat, they might not send the Batchat in right away, but... And then 12 Panzer, looks like they'll put the Super Conquerors on bull and the E4 on the bag, and then they send everyone else up.
As expected, we can see the 2 Batchat. They're going to push and take some spots down the middle. I'm curious to see if one of the team are going to try to take the lighthouse.
Either team's taking bull. Although HN's stacked more on bull. Oh, there you go. HN's committing now. It's a good play by...
I think they should have literally pushed directly in and not stopped. That 5A took 2 shots. Instead of just keep pushing, he stopped there.
It's going to be rough here in a couple seconds for 12 Panzer, especially with Dig out front so far. In front of a large enemy force of HN players. Their Batchats need to go in and...
HN keeping a 50B back there, this is not a bad play considering he's going to clip the first tank that he's going to try to push.
Well, Panzers needs to start supporting these Batchats better than they are. These Batchats are going to get ripped.
Yeah, it's actually a very curious position for a bat right now, staying in the middle like that.
The E4 is getting into the fight. The hit point spread, though, is actually even, which is surprising.
At 50B from HN back there on the left needs to pin every single shot, and this is not the case right now. Back on reload.
Super Kongs. And I mean, HN has hit point advantage, but I feel like 12 Panzer, this is still winnable for them. They just But they did just walk themselves into a crossfire between the Patton and Batchet that are on the hill. They just have easy shots down into them, and HN is just has way too many one-shots left. But HN still has 2 one-shots alive.
Yep. Thing is,
That should be dead to
right now the
Rex.
5A is gonna go down to the bad chat. Yep. It's still winnable for 12 Panzer. But the thing is, they kept the Super Conk out of the fight for way too long, going around like that.
See, now the situation's switching. Now HN needs to get those 2 tanks off the hill to come support this T-57 and this I-7, because this T-57 and this I-7 are going to die. That is going to be an advantage on 12 Panzer. If this 50B can get 1 clip out, or you should probably kill the Super Conqueror. That's 1 shot, honestly. That's what the comms are being. Or the 2-shot Super Conk for him.
Now we have HN bad chat coming in the fight. Patton's coming. For a minute, that was extremely dangerous from HN. Those 2 I-7 should have backed up instead of pushing into 2 Super Conks that literally have the position advantage with that gun depression.
HN's map pick, and HN won, so we'll see what happens from the other side.
Nice support by Daddy Smoot in the 50B. He bounced a few shells, but overall, that was good. Panzer had the 2 Super Conks out of the battle for a little bit too long. That's the problem. Negating that big BPM. Well played by both teams. HN taking the first one on their map pick.
Yeah, that could have went either way, honestly, especially towards the middle part of that match. Each team seemed like they could have the upper hand. I'm surprised none of the new tanks are being ran either, the 277s and the 430Us, especially on this map, with the reliance that each team has on taking bull. I think HN will push heavier bull this time, because the spawn for the ABCD side spawn, so the north spawn, is much more superior for taking bull on this map. It's just you have easier spawns to get in. So we'll see if they abuse that or if they don't use it and they try to do what 12 Panzer did. But see, the funny thing is, even though the north side of this map has the easier path to get into bull in terms of distance, if the south side takes bull, it's harder for the north to dig them out. South side has better holding positions for the bull. One of the best counters, though, is they could put an SDR, SDRB 103, or whatever, the stupid tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer. There's climbs at B1.
Yeah,
get them right under the side
B1,
of the mountain
B2, yeah. I'm curious though, 12 Panzer 2 IS-7 in D2 could have did like a lot more damage when HN pushed into the ball, basically having their tank broadside, exposing their side to those 2 IS-7s.
The mistake that 12 Panzer made there, I think, was instead of sending they sent the IS-7s to that corner. They should have sent the Super Conks. They should have sent the IS-7s up and around, because the IS-7s would have got there faster. But
switching the IS-7 for the Super Conks on those 2 positions would have definitely been better, considering the Conqueror would have used that big DPM they have.
And this Conqueror can actually
what I also
sidescape.
noticed is as soon as the 50B, like, I don't think they were counting the shells of the 50B from HN back in like H1, allowing them to be a little bit more aggressive and use the IS-7 gun a little bit more effectively in the middle. Looks like they just didn't know if the 50B was reloading or not, constantly thinking about it, basically being scared of it. Having the 2 Super Conks there would have made a huge difference, DPM-wise, on the ball.
So I think the 2 major mistakes off the start of the game that cost both teams hit points right off the bat are going to be the fact that they did not send the Super Conks instead of the IS-7s. I feel like that was a bad play, but again, I'm not calling. And then the fact that HN kind of hesitated there when they originally pushed into that bull with the 5As.
Yeah, the 5A
HN
took 2
would've,
shots for nothing.
Yep, if HN would have full committed that bull push right off the bat, they would have been up and into the Batchats' faces while the Batchats were still entering position. But since HN hesitated there and tried trading shots a little bit with the IS-7s, they lost essentially 1,000 hit points off of what I can assume was an E4 shot and a IS-7 connecting into their IS
Yep.
5A.
That was a really interesting position by the 12th Panzer Batchat by pushing directly on the cap. I think what he was trying to do is basically be-roll it, push a little bit down the slope and then clip something down into the ball and then just move out. But I don't think it really worked actually because he got caught on the open. He had to turn around and just bail out. It's actually one of the first time I see a Batchat pushing there.
The comms call probably on that was, I bet you a lot of money that 12 Panzer at the same time as the Batchats pushing wanted the IS-7s to push around from the back. And the IS-7s might have just been a little bit too passive there, but I could be wrong. But I bet you anything that if for that push could have worked if they would have sent the IS-7s in, because then it would have been essentially a one-tank overmatch. Because the 50B would have been in the back, and then they would have 2 tanks on top of the hill. But HN would have had 2 super conks fighting those 2 tanks on top of the hill, but we'll see. See now, an E100, that's a unique pick for this map, to say the least.
Since we have the new Russian tanks, I don't see right now any use for an E100 over a 705A. Considering that tank can work in pretty much the same position, the armor is way much more effective. If you consider that an E100 player is not angling his turret well enough, he's gonna get bent every single time in the cheeks. And the turret of the 705A it's monstrous. It's like the armor is it's really crazy. Maybe it's because none of their player have one yet, or they're just not thinking about it. But honestly, in the future, I'm expecting to not see a lot of E100 anymore and see a 705A instead. I would personally use 705A on Cliff on the south spawn, working the F2, rock side scraping there, and having maybe an E4 or a 50B in H1. Nothing's going to try to push that unless they have a big overmatch and they all go all in at the same time. But yeah, E100, let's see.
12 Panzer is bringing out the STRV from the other spawn, which means they're putting him
at J1. The south spawn.
They're putting him at J1, or they're going to put him at J6, and then put a Batchat at F2 up in the climb right there. And then they'd also put a Batchat at F6, creating a little triangle there. For any tanks to try to push that, and then they'd send all of their other tanks into the bowl, which they could do. Because they have the tanks to do it, because they could push with the IS-7s, the 111 5A, well, they keep the E4 in the back. They keep the E4 in the back, they would push... Oh, they have 2 TDs, don't they? That's awkward, honestly.
Yep.
Unless they plan to use the E4 as a heavy. Which, I mean, is a good plan, but...
I would be surprised to see the E4 and the 103B sitting together down the one line. So maybe what we can expect is having the E4 down the one line, and then having the 103B pushing it like J6, J5, J6. But once again, one of the 2 TDs is basically going to be useless.
One of the 2 TDs is going to sit on the one line. I would bet you it's the E4 because it can take shots better, and I bet they can rotate the STRV because it can move, but we're just about to see. I mean, maybe they might put the STRV on hill. Who knows? They might use the STRV as an assault tank because the only tank on... there's no tanks on their team that has the 152, is there? For, HN's team? Or not HN, but, we'll go with the tank list real quick again. HN has an E100, and that's the only tank that can reliably pen the STRV.
The STRV is 40mm armor at the front, right?
50. It has, so if you look, so the plates, there's 2 plates on the STRV in the front. It's weird because there's 2 50mm plates, which cover up the most, and there's 1 40mm plate in the middle. So to overmatch, you need a 152mm gun.
And that little grill on the upper plate is actually very effective against heat, so...
Yeah. Okay, HN is playing super passive right here.
Yep.
Okay, so HN's preparing for what they wanted to prepare for was a push, and then all those tanks would have got shot, but 12 Panzer isn't pushing, so it's gonna be interesting 2-on-1 batchat fight up here.
I like the
Well,
team spread by HN right now. If they push aggressively, they can basically easy overmatch those two batchat.
Yep, HN needs to see that though. HN needs to be counting these tanks of where these tanks are. And yeah, they did double stack their TDs on this flank. I wonder if 12 Panzer knows that this SDRV is actually sitting right next to a climb that the SDRV can get into. I don't think that he, one, knows that, or two, knows how to get into it. It's really not that difficult, but you can just literally climb up into there.
Yeah, I don't think he's aware of it, because by doing that, he could easily have shot on that E100 by doing that.
It looks like HN's getting ready to push segmented dig and Hoyeda. I don't know how to say that. Hoydra on segmented dig, and it's going to be rough for those two to kill a Batchat in a Patton with a 5A and a T-57 heavy support. Because if that Patton just peeks them and forces them to come to, forces 12 Panzer to come to HN, it's going to be rough for them to take this.
Basically a 2v2 brawl up there right now. Yep. Well, 12 Panzer looks like they don't realize that if they push all in, they have an overmatch down there and can take down those 4 heavies, gun for gun, while everyone is buzzy in the middle, considering those two Batchats are actually holding their own pretty well right now. T-57 looks like he's trying to literally go up there. The 5A is basically useless right now.
What the 5A is doing is the 5A is, I think he's trying to spot the SCRV 103, the SCRV, because I don't think the SCRV's actually been spotted yet. So the SDRV is a wild card, and they have no idea where he's at. I mean, yeah, he's pumping out shots right now, but they, you know, shots from what position though? But yeah, these two Batchats are gonna fall from 12 Panzer. Oh, that's rough.
What a bad driving. I think Segmented did basically panic there, trying to win down. And the problem is, you know, even if the 5A tried to spot the STRV, he needs to be way closer, considering we all know the STRV camo rating is totally broken.
See, 12 Panzer called this push a little too late because they lost both their Batchats. 12 Panzer, what they need to do is kill the C100. If they can kill the C100, then maybe they have a chance, but they're pushing into such a gun line. Ooh, nice shot by the E4, right?
Yep.
I think that was the E4.
The
yep,
E4
nice
needs to push in, actually. If the E4 join those heavies and push all at the same time, it's still winnable.
That Batchat's still alive. That Batchat's just buying them time. The 12 Panzer Batchat is... 12 Panzer's bouncing too many shots in the C100. They gotta make their shots count. There we go. Nice shot. Now they need to go kill this 50B and this IS-7.
What 12 Panzer needs to do right now, looks like they're doing it, is basically all push to take the IS-7 and the 50B down as fast as possible, and then turn around.
What this SDRV is gonna die to this Patton. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think this SDRV can survive from this, fighting this Patton, so...
I would be surprised. That toe's gonna die pretty quick here. The STRV is still alive though. He made it into the bowl.
I don't know why that Patton didn't chase. Was there an the E4 couldn't have looked at him.
I think this is basically why the Patton didn't push. He was scared of the E4, and now the E4 is down.
He's dead. I mean, you know, HN had the strats, right? This is HN's map pick. They might have been training for this. They might have been ready for a couple different outcomes, so it's going to be interesting to see what 12 Panzer comes back with, and if they can get a couple wins out of it. Because the matches have been close. Like, the match before this was closer, but, you know, that match was...
12 Panzer
Pretty
had
close
a
for what it
really
was.
good chance to win it though. As soon as they realized that HN had two heavies up there, they could have pushed down the 1-2 line, and they would have won gun for gun because overmatch. Once again, Daddy Smooth in the 50B and I support at 3500. That Patton 3400. Unfortunately, in 12 Panzer, Segment and Dig couldn't do any damage on top. And the second batch had only penned 2 shots.
Yeah, the batch app plays were they just messed up. I mean, the batch app just needs to attempt to get one clip out, and then it's actually done something. But we'll see. This is going to be interesting. This next map will be 12 Panzer's pick, and they should have some strats for it. So we're going to see what comes out. Still surprised we haven't seen any 277s yet. The 277 has made the IS-7 essentially obsolete because better gun, same-ish turret, more mobility. The IS-7 is just too slow without the mobility buff to be considered competitive, but
I would say all-around armor, the IS-7 is still better though.
yeah,
If you
but
need
yes,
a
you still get
heavy.
heat routed through the upper plate. But I understand what you're saying.
It's all about positioning, right? Because when you take a look at it, the upper plate of the 5A is stronger than the 277. But if you manage to put a 277 basically hold down, it's better than 5A. But on in more situation, I will still pick a 5A because it's more flexible with the 7 degrees of gun depression. It's also a little bit more mobile than a 277.
Yep. No. What? Yep. No, that's 100% correct. The 2.5As are really necessary nowadays in comp. They're just you can't substitute the DPM and the mobility and the 7 degrees of gun depression. Like it has a whole package.
Yep.
And the 277 is honestly the next closest thing to that. Of course, doing some trade-offs. I mean, the 277 has better gun handling, but the 5A is more mobile. The 277 has a better turret, but the 5A has more gun depression, right? So you're trading off for every single thing. But essentially, the mobility of those two tanks, the 5A is a little faster, 277 is a little slower. Those tanks are pretty much clone copies of each other. I mean, they're not the same.
Yeah, it's basically
they're
basically
close.
the same playstyle.
And they're a very good competitive tank. And the teams, they just got to figure that out. It's a new tank, and maybe a lot of these guys they don't watch PC stuff, or maybe a lot of them don't have it because it did come out. 3 days ago, 4 days ago? What, Tuesday? So that would have been 2 days ago. It came out 2 days ago, and so I don't expect everyone to have it. I know that a majority of guys in my clan have it, along with the 705A and the 430, but we were pre-grinding that because we knew, the Teton would lead from it, but it's going to be interesting. Steps, I think, we're going to see more mobile tanks because the engagements are a little bit more open. Chieftain. I don't, as bad as it sounds, I don't see the reason for running a Chieftain over a Superconk. If you want the gun depression, the Superconk's just better. Chieftain's a little faster, but what you lose is just too much. I mean, the Chieftain's turret is way worse than the Superconk, or the Chieftain has less hit points, the Chieftain has less hull armor, the Chieftain's gun is comparable to the Super Conqueror. I think the Chieftain is a little better, though, in that regard. I think the gun of the Chieftain is a tiny bit better.
The main problem I see is if you have to basically engage a brawling fully exposed, the Super Conk is so much better than a Chieftain. That's the problem.
I agree.
Chieftain hull, we all know that the Chieftain hull is garbage.
Yep. You're 100% correct. And then that E50M pick, again, the new Russian vehicles just came out on Tuesday. I know that are new, but the 430U.
Monster.
Like, the reload on the E50M and the 430U right now is like a second off, isn't it? I sold my E50M, I'll be honest, when they changed the reload statistics on it. But if I remember correctly, it's was like 7.76 seconds when I had mine fully kitted. That was without vents. I was running coated optics, vents, and coated optics vents, and what's gun rammer, and that was like 7.76 seconds. That's with food also in Brothers in Arms. And I think
Okay.
they nerfed that like a second, so it might have like an 8.86 second now reload. Comparing that with the 430U, which has a 9.45 second reload, I mean, you're 0.75 seconds longer reload for 440 Alpha, and better turret armor, and pretty good gun handling, honestly.
Also, like both lower plate, even like the 430U lower plate
Is
a
better.
better angle. The upper plate is better. I don't know
Yep.
if you're gonna agree with me with that. If you take a look at the 430U, it's basically a baby 113.
I think the 430U's armor is better than the
Hull-wise, like
113, but
I mean,
But yeah, I
the
understand what you're
shape
saying.
of the shape of the tank. It's
Oh, yeah.
just, I don't
yep,
know.
you're right.
Why
The
playing a
only
113 when you
difference
can
is-
play a 430U now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 430U, 160 millimeters of upper plate armor, 113, 120. The 113's angled more, but since the 160 is angled at a 65-degree angle back, it doubles the nominal thickness. So the 430U's upper plate, unangled, is 270 flat.
Yep.
And as soon as you start angling with the 90 degrees of side armor, this can do some work. Now, this is interesting. 12 Panzers went for a very, very gun depression oriented playlist with, I'd say, 2 mobile tanks and an E50 they'd probably use as a quote-unquote tank destroyer. HN, on the other hand, has went for more of a, kind of what they did last map. They're set up more for a brawl, like a fight. We're going to see what each team does.
I really don't see the point of using 2 chieftains. Maybe because they want to reach their position faster. But they still
Yeah, they
can
could
make
have-
it there with super conks without any problem, so...
They could have done 5As
Right.
too instead of chieftains, honestly. Because 12 Panzer's DPM is just... Or not their DPM, their mobility is... Might let them down here.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting though.
We have
The position everybody's in.
SND smokes in the Conqueror that basically try a blind shot. Wondering if it was trying to hit anything around E7, E8 for some reason.
Both teams are splitting up here though, kind of evenly. We're going to see... I think the mistakes here, on both teams, I'll just call them mistakes right off the bat, is the lack of spotting by their bat jets right off the bat. And both teams did not send their bat jets into what you would consider the good spotting bushes for either side. They kind of played their bat jets a little bit more passive, so they weren't able to get vision. But it appears as if HN's going to attempt to push these bat jets out.
Daddy Smooth in a really good position right now. E50M takes 2 shots.
I don't know if you realize this, but I'm having like a revving engine whenever I move the camera backwards. I don't know about you, but it's kind of weird. It's like I'm in control of the tank, but I'm not.
Sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. I've been wondering if it was a player's engine or what. But
Yeah,
now
that's what
that
I
you
was thinking
mention
too,
it,
and then I
every time
realized
go
it was-
forward and back. It does that.
Yeah, the thing
Okay,
is,
now-
that as soon
now-
as we move, it's basically like acceleration of a tank. It feels weird.
This is weird, okay? Because 12 Panzer has now set up in a full defensive position to HN's push, but HN at the same time is pushing from the other side, so HN is going to get a shot on shots in his bat jet on the captain. And I don't know if 12 Panzer is going to realize that. I think 12 Panzer thought that all of HN's forces were coming from behind, and it seems like, yeah, they're reacting to that now. Sigmund to Dig is turning around with the other tanks, and they've realized that HN's actually behind them. 12 Panzer
As
is
soon
going
as
to
12
push here.
I
Kinda
don't know why
pinched here,
Daddy
sorry
Smooth is
about that.
pushing out in the open right now. With all that gun depression from 12 Panzer.
They have
Very
to
risky.
overpeak to shoot him, though. For them to shoot him, essentially, the 5A and the T-57 Heavy should be able to get shots. And it looks like Segmented Dig's going off by himself, or they just called a push onto the 2 tanks that are by themselves, but you know, right now HN still has the hit point advantage. HN needs to pressure that right now though, because both their heavy tanks are getting pushed. Ooh, their chieftain's getting Marine JB 19. What did I say? 1989. Yep, 12 Panzer's gonna go ahead and kill Driven Terror and Anubis.
This is actually not a bad play, but they're just moving out of position considering now HN can put a cap pressure. What I was expecting is as soon as 12 Panzer had their 3 mediums back with the back, knowing that they have 2 heavies and 1 batchat out of the fight, they should have did an all-in push down on the gap and overmatch HN's
still up
down
though.
there.
HN's still up on hit points. HN should apply 1 tank cap pressure now. Daddy Smooth, this is a very aggressive play by him going to kill this E50M with... Yeah, Daddy Smooth's gonna die for that. That was a mistake. At least he should die from that.
Managed to bounce a shell though.
This E50M's gonna die for that. Ooh, Segmented Dig caught in the open right now. Oh, gets the kill though.
That was a very risky play by Daddy Smooth, but he made it alive. Oh, he just died.
He just died. Yeah, but Dig overpeaked it. Dig's one shot. Dig's dead now. In all of 12 Panzer spotted right now. So if I was HN, I would call the tanks back, set up more defensive locations, and apply cap pressure and force them to push. But it looks like HN's gonna pressure their advantage of being a tank up, leading with the IS-7. It's gonna be hard though to dig that Super Conqueror and all these tanks that have fairly decent turret armor to dig them out, so it's gonna be rough.
Now the problem is, I don't understand why the Supercon from HN is in that position instead of trading with the IS-4. The IS-4 is basically fully exposing himself to take a shot with that no-gun depression.
I mean, they're even tanks right now, but HN's... Both Panzer's up on hit points, because HN's been pushing into their hold-down locations, and that was I think that was a mistake, personally, but...
HN, I think they're a little bit overly aggressive right now. They have the cap side, they don't need to push, they should be just defensive and wait for 12 Panzer to commit and make a move. They don't have to be aggressive right now.
12 Panzer's Batchat's been spotted for such a long time. Like, you know where this guy's at. Now that the Batchat's unspotted, though, you have to be worried about him.
The IS-4 is relocating a little bit in the middle. That Batchat moving around literally can be game-changing right now. The only thing you have to do is basically finish a Legini in the Supercon. And there we go, he's done. Yeah, unfortunately HN are just too aggressive right now. They basically have the cap advantage on their side. Instead of being defensive and wait for 12 Panzer to make a move, they wanted to attack. Now they have that Batchat behind them. It's not looking good. We see some nice trading. IS-4 armor, obviously. Gecko tried to turn around, get a shot on that Batchat, told Panzer. He basically exposed himself and got killed for it. And then slowly but surely HN is going down.
HN had the advantage there. Their mistake was pushing into the all of 12 Panzer's hold down tanks. They could have.
Yep. They didn't have to be aggressive
formed a circle around the cap circle, because they were up 1 tank. Could have set that 1 tank that they were up in the cap circle, and they would have had to push into it. But yep, Miss Hunter absolutely farming. 6,400 damage. Wow.
That chieftain did some nice work.
Uh-huh. He did really good. He's just able to get lower plate shots and upper plate shots on all of HN's vehicles. So.
Well, it was 12 Panzer pick, so there we go. HN won Cliff. First game won by 12 Panzer on their map pick. I actually would love to see this game going into Ghost Town 2-2. Because both teams are pretty balanced right now.
I agree.
They both make good plays, they both make mistakes, but you know, no one's perfect. I'm just it's unfortunate that HN just went fully aggressive mode instead of just being passive and defensive, making 12 Panzer make a move and then got them out in the open, but unfortunately they wanted damage, but they got killed for it. Let's see for the next lineup. I'm expecting both teams to pretty much pick the same tanks for some reason. I would be surprised to see 12 Panzer switching those chieftain, considering one of them just did like a boss job right there.
I think it's going to be the same situation as last game, that both teams are going to pick relatively the same, minus maybe one or two tanks that are going to get switched out.
It was, I basically noticed two major, I would not say mistake, maybe just misplays in the fact that as soon as 12 Panzer had their mediums back with the pack, knowing that a T-57, a 5A, and a Bad Chat were totally out of the battle, the 5A is fast, but it's still, you know, it's gonna take time to go down the full fucking H-line and just basically reach the battle. And then you have a T-57 that it's basically just not fast at all. So I thought they would have basically just pushed all in down on the cap and overmatched HN tank there.
The T-57 doesn't really work on this map, just based on how Steps is. It's more of a hull down map and more of a peaking map. And the 57 Heavy is more of a city map peak. Close quarters combat, and this just doesn't really work on this map. But we'll see if they pick up on that for this game.
HN going with a 113. Full Panzer lineup for now, it's pretty much the same. Chieftain, 2 Super Conks, an IS-7, a Bad Shot. I'm expecting to see a second Chieftain. Daddy Smooth in the Bad Chat again. Dad Toes, same thing. IS-7. I actually don't know why HN is picking a 113 over a Super Conks right now. Or just a 5A. I would personally go Super Conk.
If they want the mobility, they should have picked 5A or 277.
I like the 113, like, it's a good tank, but it's just, there's no point in using it over a 5A in 90% of the situation, like even, and if you really want to use a 113, why not using a 430U instead? HN going full heavy mode right now. 2 IS-7, a Super Conk, 2 Chieftain, and a 113 with a Bad Chat. They still have one tank to pick.
Yeah, I think HN's gonna pull a turtle strat here. I don't really think they want to take this into round 3 on Ghost Town, or take, you know, another round off. I think they want to win round 3. So they don't have to go into Ghost Town, but we're gonna find out. 12 Pans are going just as heavy though. Again with the E50M pick.
I don't know why the E50M though. Instead of an E50M, I would definitely pick a second bat shot. Just for that burst damage advantage. Also the mobility, like the E50M is well armored, but we all know that this thing turned like a boat. A lot of heavies. We should see a good fight around the cap area.
Should be. We'll see what they do.
HN want to check down there.
Really interesting push by HN right now, sending 2 IS-7 to 113 and the bat shot down the 2 line. And the gun depression heavies towards the gap.
Daddy Smooth, that's a risky play by him yet again, because if 12 Panzer would have sent any tanks that he would have got shot. Any of their single shot tanks up there, he would have got shot. But 12 Panzer, then again, is not going to spot their heavy tanks, is not going to spot HN's heavy tanks until they are on their E50. So this E50 has the potential right now, if all three of these tanks hit them, to lose.
HN could definitely just keep pushing, and that E50M is out of position right now.
He might only lose one, but I think HN's going to push the advantage.
HN definitely needs to keep pushing right now. Yep.
But the E50M is going to get away, and they might run into the same situation as they did before, where HN's going to be pushing into hold down vehicles. But Daddy Smooth in an interesting location. Yet again, very aggressive. Daddy Smooth is going to get pushed, I would assume, by the other batch.
And unfortunately, when you take a look right now at the tanks lineup, HN is a tank down. There's 7 versus 8 right now.
Oh, I didn't even realize that they didn't get that's
gonna be interesting. Now, what HN needs to do, one tank down, is basically they should push right now. Push and try to do a pincer move down on 12 Panzer.
Well, HN's, they're tied up now, so they just gotta now play the game like they normally were playing before. Now HN's up on hit points too, even though being a tank down.
Looks like 12 Panzer realize they have an overmatch. I don't like the push by Elite Jenny right now. He pushed way too far. He's gonna get himself killed because of that.
HN's gonna counter push now into scope 89. They're gonna get him out of the game, but it might be too slow. Too little too late.
Yep, C-Rex totally out of position right now. Out in the open in a chief.
See, this is actually a play that Daddy Smooth needs to take here and kill this chieftain. Oh, you can't ram a chieftain anymore. Daddy Smooth now needs to... See, now they're 113's out of position, though he shouldn't have gone into that bull. Hopefully HN can get the remainder of their tanks into a fighting position.
HN needs those 2 IS-7 in the brawl fight right now.
I think 12 Panzer just made a mistake in their batch chat. Well, Dudia made a mistake. They shouldn't have rushed. He shouldn't have rushed into that, but they're trying to kill the 113. He got the kill. What's up with all the ramming? These guys can't be ramming hit points like that to trade. I mean, it also brings your hit points down, and these guys just getting farmed. HN a take down. I mean, I don't know if someone just got deselected or if someone just forgot to pick. I know last night when we were playing.
They didn't just pick in time.
I was gonna say last night when we were playing the Our guy lagged out, unfortunately. So.
Fortunately, this time 12th Panzer realized they had an overmatch down into the bowl over the cap area. It's kind of unfortunate that Allegini in the Supercon, he basically pushed alone way too aggressively. I don't know why he did that. What they needed to do is just basically keep that chieftain in the Supercon, hold down using full 10 degrees gun depression, and focus firing was very important there. Looks like they were all shooting at a different tank. Allegini's pushing out in the open alone. C-Rex and the chieftain literally got cut out in the open on the flat ground. I don't know what he was doing there, honestly, in a chieftain, considering you got basically no chance to bounce from your hull. He was out in the open. Just some bad positioning by HN on that side. Here we go for Ghost Town. HN won their map 2-0. 12 Panzer won their map 2-0. HN's picking already, but we're still on the same map. I just hope they're gonna make sure to pick their 8 tanks in time. Or we don't know, right? Maybe one of them dropped, or it's hard to know exactly what happened. But you know, starting with 1 tank down, it's a big disadvantage. There we go for Ghost Down. 5th game of the night. I don't know for you guys, but it's kind of fun in a way that it was not a one-sided match. You know, this is not a 3-0. That clan is basically way better, more coordinated with reaction time and focus firing than the other one. Both teams won their respective maps. As expected, it goes down. We're gonna see some heavy 2E100 here. E100 for HN as well. Segmented dig in a T57 heavy. This is actually not a bad tank for Ghost Down. Close range, burst damage, and most of the time the T57 armor can be very forgiving. Like it's troll, very troll. HM with an E5. Not too sure about that pick. The machine gun part can bounce, but it's just an easy weak spot that if you use your full gun depression, it's basically the first thing that you give to your enemy to shoot at. Interesting picking. 12 Panzer with 2 IS-7, 2 E100. They're going for armor, obviously.
I mean, it's the same sort of situation out of HN. They're kind of mirroring each other, aside from the Batjet out of Derived Terror, so we're gonna have to see how he does.
HN have a huge advantage on the gun depression right now. It's like they're going to try to keep the fight towards the middle as much as possible. It's going to be hard for 12 Panzer to deal with that. IS-7, E100, 7 degrees, it's not that bad. But you know, there's no way 2 Super Conks are going to lose to 2 E100 in a gun depression DPM fight. And 48 Patton as well. HNF8 tank. Pick. Both teams. Looks like we're ready to start that. What do you think is going to happen with the 2E100s tank? Middle or a little bit more on the sides, like down a G line or D and C line?
I think each team is going to push a line, and they might switch, like, so each team's going to pick a side of the map, so whether that be the north side or the south side, a team's going to pick it, and so we're either going to see a full frontal engagement, or we're going to see two teams swapping sides of the map, and this turning into a, essentially, north-south fight instead of the just head-on brawl. So the only wild card is really the Batchat, I guess, and then the HN has to watch out because 12 Panzer has the pushing potential. So we'll see. If 12 Panzer are just YOLOs here, they could win.
Yep.
Unless HN really sets up their tanks well, and that Batchat would have to focus something out right off, right as soon as the battle starts. So we're gonna see what ends up with this, but if I had to bet based off the way that both teams have been playing and the way that the tank lineup is right now, I'd bet that 12 Panzer is going to win this match just based on tank lineup alone. But again, we'll see. That Batchat's the wild card. If that Batchat can put 2 clips of damage out, that could be the deciding factor.
Yep,
So
I agree with that. It's basically pretty much the same thing normally, right? The team that spawned on the north is going to push down 7, 8, 9. The team on the left pushing 2, 3, 4. But once again, if that turned into a gun depression fight in the middle, HN have the advantage right now. But that doesn't mean they're going to win because of that.
And also, I think not bringing in E4 is probably a mistake on this map for HM. They should have switched out their E100 for an E4. Would have been a much better pick, but I'm gonna see. It looks like both teams are kind of splitting up in their own way. Wow, Ghost Town's a really nice map because you can literally zoom all the way back out and see everything that's happening.
Terror with the Batchat and HN needs to get out of there right now.
Nope, HN's gonna have a crossfire if these 12 Panzer guys try to push him. HN just Divide Terror just needs to stay still for a second.
12 Panzer needs to keep pushing.
HN's not taking advantage of this though. HN could have had all of their tanks come broadside all of 12 Panzer tanks, and they let the Batchat escape, which is a mistake. Ooh, this E4 is about to get in a 3v2 situation. Oh, I'm sorry, 3v2 situation with this E4 and this E100.
Cranky from 12 Panzer.
Cranky's out of position.
Is doing some, it's extremely risky right now, engaging a Patton that can use full gun depression on that hill and a Batchat.
Divide Terror at any moment could go kill this guy, honestly.
He should.
Is he firing heat?
He's on a reload now. I think he was firing heat. He could have easily traded, not take 1 if not 2 shots, but make sure he landed 5 shots.
Yeah, they need to push his IS-7 now. They need to push his IS-7, and then they'd have a insane flank as soon as they take out both these IS-7s. That looks like exactly what Spartan's doing. Spartan's gonna put 1 shot into this IS-7, just like. Come on, Spartan. There you go, just like that. And then they're going to push the other IS-7 together. Terror will be reloaded by then, so it's going to be interesting.
What Terror needs to do is basically go left and go clip Sages in the IS-7.
They need to get a kill. C-100 is going to die for... Batchat needs to drop. Batchat needs to dump his whole clip. He needs to dump his clip now. He needs to kill Segmented Dig. Oh, he's on a run. Segmented Dig is gonna kill him for that. Yep. This is 12 Panzer's game. HN could have had it there, but HN just simple mistakes.
Yep, exactly.
It's not
because
even.
they had the
It
upper
wasn't
hand.
even anything too advanced. It was just simple mistakes. But oh well. The Patney
Well,
did
Fencer
well.
had
The
a
Patney
really,
did well, but
a really
had to
nice
kill that
focus
high center
firing
passer.
there. That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Terror pushed really aggressively on the outside there. That was very risky, but at the same time, HN could have taken advantage of that because they had the flank of 4 tanks basically, but they took advantage of it, unfortunately.
Yep. Good games though. It was a good series of games to watch. I was happy it went into round 3. That could have been anyone's game there towards the end. So.
Well, I think this is what we like to see, right? Two clans actually balanced with each other when on goes down. So obviously, I don't think one clan is clearly better than the other. Both made good plays. Both made mistakes. Oh, well done. Well done to both clan. That was some good games.
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting the 2 leaders or callers from both clans for a little chat?
Yeah, that's usually what we do. I'm not sure who the caller is for 12 Panzer though. Nubis should be the one.
Segmented dig.
For HN.
Yeah,
I'd message segmented dig.
Anubis is a caller from HN.
And get Hyodra.
Oh, everyone's leaving.
Yeah, looks like it's done. Who is it for 12 Panzer? Is it Segmented Dig or Hordra?
Segmented
Hyodra.
dig. Oh, then Hyodra. My bad. It's Hyodra.
Well, let's see if Dingy can get them in.
Who's 12 Panzer?
Supposedly
Hordra.
Hyodra.
What?
Oh,
Hodra.
don't ask me again. I don't know exactly how we're supposed to pronounce that.
Fast. It sounds like blah blah blah.
It's Hyodra. It's I just go to recent
Dude,
play
I
H-O-I-D-R-A?
see
honestly.
someone in the last battle. I got Scopey, Cranky, Husker.
Hodra. It's Hoidra.
He wasn't in the last battle, so he couldn't have been caller.
Yeah, then it might have been segmented dig.
Segmented dig it is.
Or at least you can ask him, you know,
Oh, he
he'll
just got
probably know the
party.
general information.
What up, Butterthumb?
Oh god, is this party? I thought it was just, oh man.
You are the caller
Yeah.
for 12 Panzer for these last couple games, right? Just to be clear. It was either you or someone else. We didn't
Yeah?
know. Yep. See? Knew it. Told you guys so.
Yeah, I did really bad. Fun.
Please let
Sure
me
you
give you a
did.
cookie.
I did quite awful.
No, I mean, it
Well,
wasn't that bad, honestly.
both teams actually nice plays and mistakes at the same time, you know.
Yeah, just I've never called so poorly as of late.
It's alright. Everyone has their off days. I mean, both teams did well. Both teams made mistakes. Both teams capitalized on each other's mistakes. So, I mean, the last push was good on Ghost Town for you guys. Then HN made some mistakes there, but again, it was still a pretty fun game to watch. So,
Yeah, it was entertaining. The fact that both clans are pretty balanced, you know, if you guys go and Ghost Town, it's obviously because, you know, there's not like one clan way better than the other. There was some,
Yeah.
you know, both clans at a certain moment between the matches had a really big overmatch, but none of the clans basically took advantage of it. So maybe working on that. You know, when you notice an overmatch, this is normally an overmatch. It's gonna be a win. If you can take advantage of it, it's really important. Overmatch normally it's gonna be a win. But once again, both teams did really good plays. There was some minor mistakes that, you know, if you guys watch your replays of the matches, it's gonna be easy to fix them.
Yeah, like flamboyant driving off cliffs, but we'll
That was an unfortunate situation.
that's all right. That's all right. I do actually have one question. One question. That question is E50M. Why? I mean,
we've
in
played-
perspective, like over the 430U nowadays.
Yeah, nobody has the 430U yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say, it is new at
Well,
tank. That's what we were talking about.
one guy does have it, but we need him in a different vehicle, which is Scopy. The
Mhm.
reason for the 50M was we've played other teams that have given us, like, we usually play VGA, and every time we've played them, we've had to go 5 rounds for, like, pretty much every time we've played them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that's been playing the 50M, we played them, he would constantly pull, like, 3K, and we've always felt like VGA was a tough competitor with us. This
Yeah.
is not one of his days in the 50M. Like, he did pretty
No.
poorly in comparison to what he usually does.
That's all right. I think you guys will find out, you know, in a couple of weeks once your players, you know, get the new tanks, that a lot of those tanks are going to become super useful, and you're going to change your strats. So it'll be interesting to see how your clan adapts. You know, like I said, the E50M, that may be a 430U instead. But again, you guys will have to decide that. But it'll be
I'm
cool
gonna
for you
get
guys to
the U.
beginning of the
so-
season, or you know, roughly the beginning of the season, to see how you guys are going to end up at the end in terms of the new tanks that were dropped and how everything goes. But yeah, good job on the win tonight for your team.
Yeah.
The last
It
game was
was-
nice for you guys. You saw the overmatch on the one flank, and HN did not see the overmatch on the flank that they had the correct amount of tanks on, so that was good.
Yeah, it worked
Yep.
out in the end.
All guys were
Yeah,
pretty
well-
good considering HN picked Cliff, they won the 2. You guys picked Steps, you won the
Steps,
2.
you won the 2. Yep. That was good, so. Well, guys, I think I have to head off here, so it was nice commentating with you all. Nice talking to Dig at the end, but I'll see you guys later.
Yep.
Alright,
Thanks for
you
coming
guys have a
and
nice
staying with
night.
me, dude. You have a good
Yep,
one.
no problem.
I'm also gonna take off here. It's getting late. Thanks for letting me commentate tonight. Dingy and Cheto, that was nice being with you guys. We had some really good games.
Alright, guys.
Bye, Dig.
Alrighty, that'll end it for tonight. Thanks for. Sorry about that. Thanks for tuning in. The next one for GTL, if I can get to my screen here. Let's see. Tomorrow, I'll be streaming HN vs SKB at 9 p.m. Eastern. And right before that is TLG versus TLOEG at 8 p.m. Eastern. Till then, have a good one, and I'll see you later.